Let me tell you something about making money. The real secret has never been about how to sell. It's about whether you have the guts to buy at the right price. I've said this my whole life. I've seen it my whole life. And I've done it my whole life. But the funny thing is, 99% of the people in this world, what they're thinking about, what they're asking, is always the wrong damn question. When should I sell? They're like a bunch of fools dancing on the edge of a cliff, always obsessing over how to make that final leap look beautiful. They're never stopping to think why they're standing so close to the edge in the first place. They spend their days staring at those flickering numbers, their stomachs churning with every tick up and down. The stock goes up 30%, and they start to get that itch. You see how pathetic that is. They pour all their energy into guessing the market's mood from one second to the next. They're trying to predict something that even God can't be bothered to manage. That's not investing. That's gambling. It's handing your life savings over to a moody lunatic we call Mr. Market. The way I see it, the fate of an investment, 90% of its profit. Hell, I'd say its entire destiny is carved in stone the moment you press that buy button. There's no changing it. Everything you do after that is just playing out the consequences of that initial decision. It's like a play. The script was written the moment you bought in. Whether you make a killing or get wiped out, the ending is already set. The ups and downs that follow are just background music and stage lighting. They don't change the plot one bit. I've always liked to use the simplest analogy. If you can buy a genuine $1 bill for 50 cents, tell me, what kind of sophisticated selling strategy do you need? Do you need to lie awake at night, worrying if it's going to be worth 99 cents tomorrow or $1.01? Of course not. You put it in your pocket and you go about your business. Go for a walk, drink some tea, spend time with your family. The only thing you have to do is wait. Wait for the fool who sold you $1 for 50 cents, or all the other slowpokes to finally wake up, rub their eyes, and realize it's $1. And when that time comes, do you need to sell at the precise moment it hits $1? Not at all. Even if you sell it at 90 cents, you've still nearly doubled your money. Even if you get a bit lazy and wait too long, and it shoots up to $1.20 in some brief moment of insanity. Now you sell at $1.10, you've still made a fortune. You see, when you buy cheap enough, you give yourself a vast ocean to swim in, not a narrow tightrope to walk. You can swim around leisurely in that ocean, not teeter on a wire, terrified of finding that one perfect point of balance. This we call the margin of safety. A margin of safety isn't some complex mathematical formula. It's just common sense, the kind of wisdom an old farmer understands. It's about leaving enough room for error, for accidents, for all the endless bad luck the world can throw at you. It's like building a bridge. If you expect 10-ton trucks to cross it, you design it to handle 30 tons. That extra 20 tons is your margin of safety. It protects you. It lets you sleep at night. Investing is the same. 50 cents for $1. That 50-cent difference is your armor against stupidity and the unknown. On the other hand, if you pay 99 cents or even $1.10 for that $1 bill, well, That's when your troubles begin. The price you paid is already at or above its real value. You've left yourself zero room for error. The market just has to sneeze, and your tiny sliver of profit is gone. Maybe even some of your principal with it. That's when you start frantically researching when to sell. That's when you become an ant on a hot pan, anxiously glued to the screen, trying to escape at that perfect, probably non-existent peak. But does any of that work? No, because your starting point was wrong from the get-go. You build a castle on sand. It doesn't matter how many fancy stones you use to decorate it afterward. One wave comes along, and it's all gone. Your failure was a foregone conclusion the moment you overpaid. All your effort, all your struggling after that, is just delaying the inevitable, or maybe just making the process of failure more long and painful. That's why I always feel a bit sorry for the young folks who come to me asking about when to sell. I see that glint in their eyes. They're hungry for a technique, a shortcut. They think I'm hiding some magic crystal ball that can tell them where the top of the market is. I just pat them on the shoulder and say, "Son, you're asking the wrong question. You should be asking me why you bought it in the first place and what price you paid. Pour your energy, 99% of it, into two questions: what to buy and at what price." That is the core of investing. It's the only part of the game that really matters. The what to buy means finding the truly great businesses. And what's a great business? Not the hottest name in today's newspaper. Not the stock your neighbor bragged about making a fortune on. Not certainly. Not something with a fancy name that you can't even explain. A great business is simple. It's something you understand. Preferably so simple you can explain it to a 10-year-old. That sells a product people will probably still be using decades from now. Its way of making money is as straightforward as a bustling corner grocery store. It has a wide moat around it that keeps the hordes of competitors from getting in and stealing its lunch. Finding a company like that is like finding a trustworthy partner in a sea of people. It takes homework, it takes reading, it takes thinking. The process is boring. There's nothing exciting about it. It's not a high-octane thrill ride like jumping in and out of the market every day. It's more like sitting in a quiet library, flipping through pages, slowly piecing together the whole picture. Most people don't have the patience for that. They'd rather listen to tips and chase trends because it feels easier. It feels like they're doing something. But they don't realize that this kind of brain-off, the easy-feeling approach, comes at an exorbitant price. Then comes the even more crucial question: at what price? This is a question about human nature, far more than it is about business analysis. You can have the best company in the world, but if you buy it at a stupid price, it becomes a terrible investment. It's like a house made of solid gold. If it's worth 10 million and you pay 100 million for it, you're a first-class idiot. Your only hope is to wait for an even bigger idiot to come along and buy it from you. And that kind of luck rarely strikes. The real opportunities always show up when people are most terrified, most hopeless. When there's blood in the streets, when the headlines are screaming about the end of the world, when everyone is tripping over each other to dump their wonderful assets just to get their hands on a little bit of cash. That's when you should have your eyes wide open and their pockets ready. Your job is to be coolly, greedily buying when others are fearfully selling in a panic. It sounds simple, right? But it's probably one of the most anti-human things you can do. The herd animals by nature. We crave acceptance from the group. When everyone around you is stampeding in one direction, it takes enormous courage and internal fortitude to walk alone against the current. You'll be laughed at. You'll be questioned. You'll be called a lunatic. After you buy, you'll watch the price fall even further, and your account will look uglier by the day. That's when the demon inside your head will start whispering, "You were wrong. Everyone else is smarter than you. Sell now. Admit you're a fool." Whether or not you can conquer that inner demon is the only thing that separates you from the herd that ends up losing its shirt. And what you rely on isn't some vague sense of bravery. It's your solid research. You have to know in your bones that you paid 50 cents for a dollar bill. As long as that fact remains true, the short-term ravings of Mr. The Market are none of your business. You can just plug your ears and ignore the noise. I've lived long enough to see this cycle repeat itself over and over. Every time people think this time is different, but every time the script of human nature plays out exactly the same. The peak of a mania. No price is too ridiculous for people to chase. And at the bottom of a panic, the most precious assets are tossed aside like garbage. So, in the end, this game isn't a test of who has the highest IQ, the best degree, or the fastest computer. It's a test of who has the temperament to sit on their ass, whose mindset is more like an old grandma running a vegetable stand. That old grandma never worries about whether the market is crowded or empty today. She only cares what she paid for her radishes, as long as her selling price is higher than her cost. She's making money. She doesn't panic and slash her prices in half just because it's a slow day. Nor does she try to sell a radish for the price of gold just because it's busy. She knows what her radishes are worth. That's her internal scale. You must have a scale like that too. We call it intrinsic value. Your valuation of a company is your scale. The market's quote is just a price someone is shouting. You can't let someone else's shouting dictate the reading on your own scale. When you truly understand all this, you'll find that investing becomes incredibly simple, almost boring. The most of your time isn't spent trading. It's spent waiting for that perfect pitch to come right down the middle of the plate. You're like a seasoned hunter who can lie in the grass all day, just waiting for the fattest prey to walk into his can't-miss range. The impatient young hunters, on the other hand, fire at every rustle in the bushes, waste all their bullets, and go home empty-handed. So, forget all that nonsense about sell points. That's an excuse losers make for their bad buys. You buy right. Selling becomes a natural, almost happy problem to have. You don't need to sell at some mythical, perfect peak. Selling at the top is about luck, not skill. A successful investor never bases their fortune on luck. We make money from common sense, from patience, and from staying rational when others are making mistakes. See, I rarely talk about complex charts and formulas because they aren't the root of the problem. The root of the problem is inside our own heads. It's whether you can overcome the two innate human weaknesses of greed and fear. The market is an amplifier for your own human nature. It will take the tiniest flicker of greed or fear inside you, magnify it 100 or 1,000 times, and then use it to devour you. The only defense is to build a set of simple principles anchored in common sense, and then follow them like a machine, no matter what. My principles are very simple. First, buy a wonderful, understandable business at a price below its intrinsic value. Second, hold it with patience until the price reflects or even exceeds its value, or until the business fundamentals deteriorate. The most important rule of all, never forget rule number 1. That's it. That's the whole game. There's no secret incantation, no magic indicator. It's just that simple, that plain, so plain that most people dismiss it. People always think the secret to big money must be hidden in some complex theory that requires a genius to understand. That's the biggest misunderstanding of all. On this road of investing, what will take you the furthest aren't the fancy techniques, but the old-fashioned wisdom your grandmother could have told you. Buy good things cheap. Be patient, and don't follow the crowd into a noisy party. So, kid, starting today, get your head out of that how to sell rabbit hole. Put your time and energy where it really counts. Go read annual reports. Go learn about businesses. Go observe the fundamental ways the world works. And go train your mind so that it can stay calm when others are euphoric and greedy, when others are fearful. The next time you're about to buy something, ask yourself one question. Am I buying a dollar bill for 50 cents? If you can answer yes without a shadow of a doubt, then congratulations. You've already won 90% of the battle. As for the other 10%, when to sell, how to sell, just leave that to time. Time is the friend of a wonderful business and the enemy of an overpriced speculation. Your job is to make time your friend. Buy right. And all you have to do is sit and watch your wealth grow. Buy wrong, and you can't run fast enough to escape your losses. That is the cruelest and also the fairest law of the investment world. The master, the art of buying and selling will take care of itself. Stop getting the order wrong. Stop wasting 99% of your energy on the 1% of the problem that doesn't matter. This is the one truth it took an old man like me a lifetime to really understand. I hope you figure it out sooner than I did.